Hello hobby hunters, Nilus here with another video, and today I'm doing a manga review, or rather a graphic novel. As you'll note, DEMONRUSH is read from left to right. Speaking of taking note, for this review I'll be in my avatar's body in this awesomely drawn room. Special thanks to Siak for creating this setting and the various avatar expressions I'll be using. Go and check her on Twitter, I'll have a link to it in the description. Also, this will be my first scripted video on this channel, or semi-scripted, as I wrote this thing loosely to have space for improv. At the end of the video, let me know in the comments what you think of this format, whether or not I should fully script future videos, and any or all ideas you have that might help to improve myself for your viewing pleasure. And now, without further delay, let's get to reviewing DEMONRUSH. Warning! Spoilers ahead. If you intend to read this graphic novel, go do it now and then come back. I'll wait. If you press the pause button. Before we even get into the story, we get this beautiful illustration of what I assume is Rush, spoilers, partially covered by the scarf he wears around his neck, holding the hilt of his sword in front of him. This illustration alone makes me feel like I was reading a genuine, licensed product rather than a fan-made webcomic. And it's far from as good as it's going to get later on, which makes it a very promising read from the get-go. In the year 2022, the gates of hell open on Earth. A demonic horde invades, slaying millions. The global economy collapses. Those who survive either live in fear or pledge allegiance to the Dark Lord. A decrepit army of angels, along with a lost order of holy knights, stands against the armies of evil, but their numbers dwindle thin, and the sinister bathe in conquest. This first chapter is in Mastar's own words a flash forward, taking place in the year 2039, making it 17 years after the gates of hell opened on Earth, and it wastes no time getting into the action as we see this character, who we later learn is Rush, spoilers, brace himself for impact from this giant fucking sword flying towards him. As he blocks the giant fucking sword, his feet dig themselves into the earth and rocks and debris start rising and fly around him to signify the power behind it. A voice, which I assume is not his, trust me, it'll make sense later, speaks and tells him to power through it. He then parries the giant fucking sword, making it spin away behind him. Then we see the opponent, the Angel of Destruction, Seraphimon. Wait, what the fuck's a Digimon doing here? Then we see the opponent, the Angel of Destruction, Adriel, who commends him on his successful parry and sends 3 more giant fucking swords his way. Rush, spoilers, leaps over the first one, spinning over the second and parries the third, sending it down into the ground before he gracefully lands and performs some sort of summoning jutsu to bring forth a giant rock hand that catches another giant fucking sword right before it hits Rush. Spoilers. He wears a cocky grin on his face but fails to notice the second sword boomerang back to him somehow, and he's barely able to avoid it. Wait, I counted 4 giant fucking swords. The one he jumps over gets stuck in the ground. He pushes away the second with that spin, as you can see the hilt of it here, while the third sword is here. He then parries the third one with his sword, and that one also gets stuck in the ground. And then the giant hand grabs one of the giant fucking swords out of the sky before the second sword returns. So either the boomeranged giant fucking sword is the one he sent spinning away at the beginning, or Adriel's a fucking liar. Either way, Rush, spoilers, got cut on the leg and is now bleeding quite severely. Adriel speaks. I will do what Soren could not. This is the end for you, Rush. Rush, no longer spoilers, reaffirms what Adriel says as he is now heavily bleeding and he feels as if Adriel is just getting started. The 3 giant fucking swords that are stuck in the ground now free themselves and are aimed at him. The voice that spoke to Rush earlier now speaks again. After destroying Zadkiel, your Imperium limit raised immensely. I can grant you more power than ever before. Release my mark. Take it and defeat Adriel. Rush accepts. A black smoking hand touches his back and places upon it a sigil in the shape of an upside-down pentagram marked by the number of the beast. And it looks fucking awesome. It appears Rush is in terrible pain as he screams out and transforms into one of the most epic beings I've ever seen put to paper. And that's including the design of Archon. I wonder what kind of devilishly handsome artist came up with that one. The horns, the armor, the tail, the details, everything about this design just screams epic, man. You have to hand it to Pedro, he knows how to sell a character. The newly transformed Rush boasts on how many of the angels he's killed, and Adriel is nothing special, just the next on his list, and then proceeds to fucking evaporate all three of the giant fucking swords with a single swing of his own blade before rushing towards the unimpressed Adriel, who grabs two of his giant fucking swords and blocks Rush's attack. The force of this so humongous, the shockwave of it tears up the ground around him, sending huge boulders flying, and even the trees in the distance get pushed aside by its force. Just look at this devastation, man. If you consider Rush is about average human size and compare it to Adriel, who is absolutely massive, and then compare the shockwave of this one sword clash to Adriel, you know shit got fucked up. I also love the following panel. Adriel says he'll send Rush back to hell, to which he replies he is hell, with this absolutely terrifying smile on his face. It gives me some sort of Spawn comic vibes. Think Clown and his victims, but I know most of you will likely be more reminded of DC's Joker. Either way, that's a face you don't want to run into in a dark alley. Adriel's shoulder bashes Rush, sending him flying into a mountain, and while he gathers himself and Adriel closes in on him, Rush ponders whether he rushed into the battle with Adriel a bit too soon. But it's too late for that. He has to take him down now because he believes Adriel will not let him escape either way. All he needs to do is create an opening and get in one good hit. The angel is not about to make this plan easy, as his goddamn arms split into 8 separate ones, each grabbing a giant fucking sword, and starts slashing at Rush. Rush gets slashed on the cheek, but his tenacity prevails, and he gets faster and faster, blocking hits left and right, getting closer to Adriel. And if you thought that sword clash earlier was destructive, then this page will absolutely blow your mind. And that's something that keeps happening in this chapter. Each attack gets more insane than the last, as if the artist keeps trying to one-up himself. Trust me, keep watching, you'll see what I mean. Once Rush gets close enough to Adriel, the angel just knees him up into the sky and readies his giant fucking swords and sends them flying towards Rush, who quickly pulls out a candle-looking artifact with runes on it, crushing it in his fist, and teleports him behind Adriel before his giant fucking swords reach their target. Still unimpressed, Adriel just seemingly shrugs it off and turns his giant fucking swords back to Rush, who quickly avoids them and jumps into the most epic looking panel in this comic thus far. Here, he touches his sword, making it seemingly transform into some sort of energy, which he then fires at Adriel. This panel right here, man, the pose, the foreshortening, the detail, the overall aesthetic, this is what I came here to see. But as epic looking as that was, Adriel just said nope, blocks it with only one of his 8 hands and dispels it as if it wasn't even there. Just look at Rush's face here. Dude looks so worried. He knows he's fucked. To add insult to injury, Adriel gathers his giant fucking swords together, forming a cone shape and gathering energy, facing Rush, who looks like he's about to crap his pants. Which I don't blame him for. I'd already have emptied my balls when he sent the first goddamn giant fucking sword my way.
And then proceeds to fire an energy beam tens, if not hundreds of times bigger than Rush's. I mean, look at this thing's size compared to Earth. That's a fucking Kamehameha-sized beam, yo. As Adriel scoffs at the brass tacks it takes to attack the Angel of Destruction, he hears a cough. Rush fucking survived that. Though he's back in his human form and clearly looks like he's at death's door. The demon inside him that gave him his power clearly knows as he offers to take over, and as he does, a black dome covers him. Taken aback by this development, Adriel sends his giant fucking swords towards it, but then the dome cracks and the newly transformed Rush, who reminds me of a heartless Sora, breaks out, shouts, and evaporates all the giant fucking swords simultaneously, and then summons his own giant fucking sword. Adriel seemingly recognizes the weapon, and from his next actions you can tell he's actually worried now, as he brings together all of his arms to form a circle and then transforms them into One Punch Man serious vibed fist, which the demon just absolutely shreds to pieces alongside Adriel himself. And from the look of it, he did all of this in just a flash. Remember I said every single attack in this comic just one-ups the latter? Well, here you fucking go. Adriel looks seemingly invincible until the demon took over, pulled his dark-ass sword out of his ass, and basically one-shots him with it. This panel right here tells so many things in so little time and space. The speed and devastation of the attacks and the pretty good sense of scale between Adriel and Rush. The demon now stands on Adriel's collar, grabbing hold of Adriel's head, the latter making one final realization: the demon is Lucifer, and gets his head ripped off. I love this panel here. The image symbolizing how powerful Lucifer is compared to Adriel, who's on his knees being held in the palm of Lucifer's hand. If that imagery is an accurate representation of how huge Lucifer is in reality, this mofo is gonna use the Atlantic Ocean as a footbath. Somewhere else, someone else wakes up. Alright, it's Soren. Not even gonna make a joke about it. It's him. Let's move on. Soren wakes up seemingly feeling or sensing what's going on the battlefield, and likely that Rush is getting stronger. As we see, back on the battlefield, he's absorbing Adriel's Imperium, which hasn't been explained yet, but I figure is likely the in-world energy source for these angels and demons, like Ki in Dragon Ball or Chakra in Naruto. And while Rush states that it's a massive amount, you can just tell by the visual aid of his body bulking up to Hulk levels as he's adjusting to his new power. As he's doing that, Soren drops down in a flash of light, fully armored and now with white hair. Rush shouts to Soren, "Only one angel remains, Soren! That casual you are so fond of is my final target. After I destroy you both, it is the end of the Holy Knights, and the heavenly realm will close forever." But then his body seemingly collapses. Maybe he didn't adjust to absorbing Adriel's power just yet, or it's the doing of Lucifer, who now appears as a black cloud of smoke coming out of Rush's mouth. He recognizes Soren as the one who's slain so many of his children, and follows up by saying he's too late, the ascension is nigh. Soren is having none of that and takes a swing at the black cloud Lucifer with his sword, only to have some black sludge attaching itself to it. As he wonders what the hell it is, Lucifer answers the question by saying that's exactly what it is, meaning hell, if you didn't get that. I sure didn't until I read it slower. The sludge spreads out almost like a symbiote, taking over Soren's body, who's seemingly in a great deal of pain as he calls out, "Father!" A beam of light strikes down from the heavens, and right after Soren calling out "Father," it makes me wonder if he's being helped by God himself at this point. Soren's sword beams with energy as Lucifer speaks his final words. "Soon enough, you will face my real power. before Soren raises his sword, speaks the incantation Magna Demonium Vim Extermina, and a giant ball of light engulfs him, seemingly evaporating Lucifer. As Rush falls to what's left of the floor, Soren tells him he should kill him right then and there, but before he can do anything, the ground starts to shake and another massive hand appears from beneath. The unconscious Rush closes its fist around him and drags him down underground. One would think he's being pulled into hell, but I like to personally think he's traveling to Disneyland. Soren leaps after him, but it's too late to do anything and he just calls out Rush's name. End scene. Whew! What a rush! Alright, I'll stop now. But seriously, this first chapter had me on the edge of my seat the entire time. It's unconventional to start your story halfway through the actual story. That's like starting the MCU with the fight in Wakanda, followed by the Thanos snap, and then starting the first Iron Man movie. But this was actually done in the original Berserk anime, as we see Guts already in his black armor and missing an arm, fighting a demon on Earth in the first episode as well. And as we know, Mastar and Pedro were both heavily inspired by Berserk as well as One Punch Man. And you can see this in the art because it's practically as if Berserk and One Punch Man had a baby and made this. And while I call it unconventional, I do not necessarily think it's a bad thing. It's a good way to get some early sense of the scope of battles we can expect from the series going forward, and it may help to pique interest in some people that don't want to sit through a character growing up and developing to see if the combat's gonna get good. You can't do that when you just start from the beginning, where your protagonist still has to learn and grow up. Although I would argue a good first episode / chapter that doesn't have much of combat at all, but is well written, is sure to hold the attention of potential readers or watchers. The combat is good. Pedro has proven himself capable of making the pages burst with energy and flair. The characters look amazing. The weapons and attacks look amazing. The only thing that could use a little bit of work is the backgrounds. It felt kind of empty, and while the devastation sure looked huge and forceful, it was slightly lacking in detail compared to the work he put into the characters. Speaking of those, they were on point. Absolutely stunning, amazing posing, use of angles and foreshortening. The expressions looked sick as fuck, all in all. When it comes to the artwork of this comic, it has a very bright future with Pedro behind the helm. As for the story, I think it might be a little bit too early to pass any real form of judgment on it. It did well for a first chapter. It introduces a few characters and concepts, but was more so combat focused than actual story. We've come to know a few things about this world, not much, but this is fine. You don't want to overfeed your audience with information early on. But I do hope this won't result in exposition dumps later down the line. The combat itself was well written. You can tell the characters were taking turns showing off their powers in an incremental increase, much like Goku does during his fights. The dialogue was not bad at all, but to be completely honest, I wouldn't call it great either. But as I've stated before, it's the first chapter and there's a lot of room for improvement. As of now, we don't really know what the future for DemonRush holds, and for all I know, I'll get kicked in the nuts later on how good the dialogue is in future chapters. What I do know is that Mastar knows how to write a fight scene. Anime War proves this, and while the dialogue in that wasn't anything invigorating either, it did serve its purpose just fine. I'm not gonna put a rating on this because I'm a filthy casual and this was my very first review ever, so what the fuck do I know, right? I do hope you enjoyed this video, and if you think I should review future installments of Demon Rush, let me know in the comments below. More on Demon Rush project will be revealed on December 18th, and while I did get a very tiny sneak peek behind the scenes, I really do not know anything what Mastar has planned for it. Here's hoping to being able to review more than just the graphic novel, which, by the way, I will be purchasing a physical copy of, if at all possible. Also, if you are wondering why I'm not uploading as frequently as I should, I have a full-time job now and little time to record and edit. I do have a whole load of pre-recorded videos, just haven't had much time to edit them. I'm hoping to bring one out every 2 weeks until the holidays and then try to create a buffer by mass editing videos and releasing them incrementally. Hopefully that will help to tighten my schedule a bit. Once again, links to Siak, Pedro Perez and Mastar Media, as well as the Demon Rush graphic novel, are down below. Go check them out, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Until then, bye.